Hello, everybody, and welcome to a holiday episode of Generation Gap. I'm Gretchen, joined as always by my co-host Tom.
And I'm Tom, joined as always by my co-host Gretchen.
And today we're talking about the original 1947 Miracle on 34th Street. Miracle on 34th Street was a film released in 1947, a Christmas comedy starring Maureen O'Hara, John Payne, Natalie Wood, and Edmund Gwenn. Story takes place between Thanksgiving and Christmas, setting in New York City, about the company of Macy's hiring a man to play their Santa Claus who claims he's the real thing. I don't know how objective I'm going to be about this movie, because this was a staple. This has been a staple in my family every Christmas season as long as I've been alive.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you can go first. What was your first experience with this film?
I'm not sure exactly. This was not a staple of our family.
Oh.
And we're a movie family. And I don't really know why, because it really is a great film. It's a movie where you really do feel good at the end.
Yeah.
And I wish there were more films like that. I mean, I know not every film can be like that. I do like dramas, too, where it's not a real happy ending. But this ending, you just feel so good about it. You know, it gives you hope.
Yeah.
And who couldn't enjoy a movie that gives you hope like that? So my first experience, I don't even really remember when I first saw it. And I don't think I ever saw the whole movie all the way through.
Really?
For a long time. Yeah, I would see bits and pieces of it probably on television. I'd put it on. And so probably not until I was an adult, probably not until I had children, that I actually watched the whole thing all the way through. And, of course, I loved it, and then I was regretting having never watched it all the way through before. But it was never a Christmas staple in our house.
So our family is our family never did the Santa thing. This was like one of the very few movies that we watched that had a Santa Claus in it.
Yeah, as a central character.
As a central character, yeah. And like that's the whole conceit of the film. And you know, like I said, I can't really be super objective because I have so many good feelings and memories associated with this film. It's such a honestly, the older I get, the more I appreciate how smart it is and how cynical it is.
Right.
In a way. Like, there's a weird New York-style cynicism to the film that I really respect.
Yeah.
Especially for the time it came out, 2 years after World War II wrapped.
Yeah.
And the year after It's a Wonderful Life, like the great Christmas classic that bombed or, didn't do well, at least.
Didn't do as well,
and the first run out.
Right.
This version, the 47 version, is the first adaptation of this story.
Yeah.
It was remade at least once.
Yeah.
In 1994, and I think the original is better.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Yeah. Well, I don't even see why you'd make a remake. It's such a great film.
Well,
it's a perfect film. Yeah, of course they have to remake everything, but it really is a perfect film. Perfect cast.
Yeah, the cast is really good.
And you're right about that cynicism, which is kind of almost a little jarring for a film at that time, and especially for that theme.
Yeah, Christmas movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's realistic. And that was kind of also part of the theme, was that there's so much cynicism.
Yes.
And I love the way those people kind of have their minds changed, you know.
So we'll talk a little bit about the story here. So this is the morning of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and the guy that they have playing Macy's Santa Claus is intoxicated.
Yeah.
And he's rebuked by an older gentleman with a beard who looks the part, really.
Can I tell you something about
Go ahead.
I don't know if you know who the original Santa was.
He's familiar.
That voice was so familiar to me. It's almost a high-pitched voice, and at first I was thinking, is that the guy who does Winnie the Pooh?
Is it?
It's not.
It's not.
But that made me look, because I thought, well, he's got a very unique voice. And you can't tell by his face, because he's made up to look like Santa.
Right.
So he's got the beard and the hat.
I always think that's one of those cases where I always think that he's I always think I've seen him or heard him in something else, and I'm pretty sure it's just because I've seen the movie so many times.
He's actually got a long list of film appearances. Nothing major, though, nothing big. But you know where you know him from? And it's funny because we both just did this movie recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you remember in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Oh,
Sweetface,
no
who lies.
kidding.
Remember, he's like, wow, if he told me I just left town, I'd believe him. Remember that old man?
Wow.
He's got a very unique voice.
Okay.
That's him. He's Sweetface.
Go figure.
And Jeff Corey's also got a small part in this film. And Jeff Corey was also in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Small world.
Very small world, especially in Hollywood.
Eventually, like after the Macy's Santa is removed from the position, he's replaced by this gentleman.
He's the one who pointed it out, too, because he was so outraged. He even says, you're making a mockery of me.
Yes.
Something along those lines,
And so he ends up, this is Edmund Gwenn, who is now taking the place of being, he's Macy's Santa now.
Yeah.
And the crowd likes him so much that Maureen O'Hara, who is in charge of the parade and like a high up head at Macy's, brings him on board for the remainder of their Christmas season.
Yeah.
And she kind of begins to regret that.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about this is that the story is not necessarily about Edmund Gwen's Santa or Kris Kringle. It's really about Maureen O'Hara and her daughter, played by Natalie Wood, in a very young role. Was this her first?
8-year-old. No, it wasn't her first, but she was only 8 years old.
And really good performance for a kid.
Yeah, she was very busy as
very
a kid.
Good.
Very good. Really good acting.
I know.
Some scenes were very emotional, too.
So I've only ever seen Natalie Wood in this and West Side Story.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think she's better here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't care for her too much in West Side Story.
We've had
Although
that
I like that film.
conversation before.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. But
definitely. Maureen O'Hara plays Doris Walker, and her daughter, Susan, they're kind of like the heart of the movie. Doris is divorced.
Which was a little jarring also to hear that.
40s.
And especially because they just kind of dismissed it, right? She's never really met her dad. They were divorced right away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. You don't know why.
Yeah. But you do get the impression that's why Doris is the way that she is and why she raises Susan like
and
this.
that's why Susan is the way she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Susan is a kid
She's very cynical.
No imagination whatsoever.
None at all.
I would have hated her if we went to school together.
Me too. I would have hated the mom. I don't like parents that don't let their kids be kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the rush to grow? For them to grow up so quickly.
Susan is she's a very like middle-aged 8.
She is.
And part of
and it's very pretentious. I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Like the type that'll point out to adults, well, that's not even true.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're trying to like sort of humor
be smarter
them,
than you.
Yeah, but I'm seeing when the adults are trying to humor the kids,
yeah.
like and then they point out that you're being silly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insulting.
So these two are. There's a couple things going on. Like I said, the main heart of the story is those two and how they're interacting with their neighbor, Fred Gailey, as played by John Payne, who's a young lawyer.
Yep.
Their interactions, Fred is, clearly attached to Susan, like cares about her a lot, but he's, very clearly trying to start a relationship with Doris, who's kind of keeping him at arm's length. Like, she doesn't dislike him by any means, but she's very practical and focused on her work.
And he's a little bit of a dreamer, which doesn't fit in with her life plans.
So their world is
and he even kind of admits that he's kind of trying to get his way to her through Susan.
Yes.
Which is fun. That's a funny scene, actually.
Their world is kind of crashed into when Edmund Gwen shows up as the Macy's Santa and begins actually telling Doris and Susan that he is the real thing.
Right.
And he doesn't do any, like, gimmicks. I've seen a lot of Christmas movies where, like, there's, like, a bit part where it's, like, Santa proves that he's real at the end.
Right.
This movie doesn't do that.
No.
He's very much just this is what reality
is. Much more subtle,
Yeah, and he just says it, and Doris views him as a threat. She likes him because he's really nice. He's a good guy, but she views him as a threat to the worldview that she's raised her daughter in.
And she's fostered for so long.
And she doesn't want, understandably in a way, she doesn't want adults trying to make magic for her child and disillusion her because
that's what it is.
Doris
she's in fact, there's a great scene where she starts to explain to John Payne about Susie or Susan, and then she ends up talking about herself a little bit, and he says, "Wait, are we talking about Susan
or you?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. All that cynicism is very personal, but she's kind of projecting it onto her daughter.
And I can understand that, which I think there's a gentle reality here in how it's it's post World War II. Like, there is a more cynical view on the holiday season, on life, on childhood, like,
almost just on being happy. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a judgment on that, which is, again, it's ahead of its time. For sure.
I think so.
I don't think there were too many other movies that really were exploring those themes. Mm-mm. And it's handled very well.
It is.
I think it does a great job with that.
The real conflict externally in the movie kicks off when Chris, as Mall Santa, begins recommending that some of these kids and their parents get their toys at other stores.
Yeah.
And that's not a move that...
Yeah, no, that goes well with the higher-ups.
No.
Not initially.
Not initially. And then a whole bunch of parents, one of which is Thelma Ritter, who I love in Rear Window.
In her debut, yeah. She's very good.
She's awesome.
The little scene she has is great.
And she goes to some of the heads up in Macy's department and goes, "Hey, like, I love what you guys are doing. I'm a customer of Macy's now." Yeah. So they, Mr. Macy.
And they're about to blow their top, and then until they hear that, they're being praised for that.
And then Mr. Macy decides, "Hey, we like this. Let's keep this Santa."
Yeah. And then it's funny because then the other department stores, Gimbels, they start to say, "Look, if they're going to do it, we're going to do it too. If we don't have it, point them."
Yeah, that's the brilliance. That's the brilliance of this film. Every single decision that's made by every character, with two exceptions, is there's always a little bit of sufficient, like, hey, we're gonna get something out of this.
Right.
Macy's is like, oh yeah, we're gonna make out like this is intentional and we're doing this on purpose because we're getting good business. And then Gimbel's like, well, we're not gonna look bad because Macy's is doing it and we're not.
Right.
So we're gonna do the same thing. Even that scene where they have the two heads, Mr. Gimbel and Mr. Macy, meet each other, they're clearly still trying to one-up each other in front of the cameras.
Right.
Like, it's very much a, hey, who's looking the best here?
But you know what's funny? That's how business and capitalism at large we're supposed to be, where you have this competition and the people benefit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in this, they're obviously doing for their own, it's where you take sort of selfish motivations, but it benefits the people at large. And that's what would happen. If I'm going to try to make this better, I'm going to try to recommend people wherever they have to go. They're going to want to come to my store because it's such a nice thing I'm doing, but they're also going to go get what they want now, too, So it does benefit.
The first 2/3, or maybe, the first, like, half of the film plays out pretty much like that. Like, there's some, like, the good feeling Christmas stuff. The plot proper gets kicked off when do you want to call him a psychiatrist?
He's not a psychiatrist. Remember, they make a point of that, right? So what is he? I'm not even sure what his title really is.
He claims to be the psychiatrist for Macy's. Is essentially psychoanalyzing and placing.
He's a good villain too because he's so unlikable. I
can't stand him.
Yeah.
He's played by. I have the name.
I think I blocked it out.
Oh, you blocked it out?
Yeah. Just because I didn't like him at all.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
Porter Hall.
I think. Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor because he's really
great.
despicable. You don't like him at all.
He was in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington as well. That's where I know him from.
Yeah.
But he's awful. Yeah. And he's kind of putting sticking these labels on one of the kids, basically, who works for Macy's.
Yeah.
Who...
Oh, that was sad, too.
Alvin Greeman as Alfred, who wasn't really in anything else.
No, I looked him up, too, because he was a good actor.
I love him.
Yeah, he was very good. And it's funny, he's not even credited initially.
No.
In the credits in the film. And he's named, and he's got a pretty important role.
Pretty big part.
Yeah.
Chris is friends with this kid. And so when he finds out that he's kind of getting picked on by the psychiatrist, he goes in there.
And it's such manipulation. Like, you can see where he's telling him. Like, you want to be nice just because it's all
something happened to you when you were a kid.
Something happened, yeah.
And so, Santa goes in there, and he argues with the psychiatrist and clocks him.
Yeah.
With his cane.
Yeah. Big no-no.
Big no-no is correct. And that doesn't come out of the blue either. Like, they've been putting in hints that this guy clearly has it out for Chris to begin with.
Yeah.
Something about him bothers people.
Right.
Especially cynical people.
Yeah. And I think, what the movie kind of mentions, it's almost like, how dare you be happy? Mm-hmm. The world is so bad. Again, this is 1946.
47.
47. Yeah. And they're already, in the post-war years, there's already a film where they're saying, like, what right do you have to be so happy? Mm-hmm. Like, there's a character specifically that doesn't like people being happy. You can see it,
And they, he brings up, like, people spreading joy. It must be rooted in something that happens.
Yeah,
it's something wrong.
There's some ulterior motive.
Yeah, ulterior motive, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like the through line of the film. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, Chris ends up in a mental institution. Yeah. And then Fred, as played John Payne, decides that he's going to quit his practice and defend Chris in court. Not only that he's not insane, but he decides to go out there on a limb and try to prove that he is Santa Claus.
He is who he says. Yeah.
That's really the big part of the movie. It's these two through lines kind of coming together. The trial that Chris thinks says is who he says he is, and that Susan and her mom believe it.
Right.
That's the really, and where it comes together in the middle, it's an insane premise.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine pitching to a studio, we're going to put Santa Claus on trial.
I know.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it really is.
I genuinely can't imagine. But
the movie doesn't treat it like it's nuts.
No.
They treat it very seriously, and it really works. Mm-hmm. It works so well.
I think because the movie takes itself so seriously, like the characters, again, it's ulterior motive. Fred is the only one who kind of throws away his career in a way, but he even says, if I win this is going to be huge for me.
Right.
If he loses, it's catastrophic. But if he wins, it's huge. And Doris is mad at him for taking the case because she's like, you're throwing away your future.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about our future plans already, and now you're just throwing it all away.
On a nice old man that you are going to try to prove is Santa Claus. And Fred doesn't even say that he believes he's Santa Claus.
No.
He just says, I'm going to prove it.
He just seems like, I love his character because he just seems like a guy who really wants to make the kids happy. He sees how he's kind of transforming Susan, too.
Yeah.
And how he's such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. So I think he's moved by that.
As much as Doris Maureen O'Hara kind of defrosts over the course of the film. So too does Susan.
Oh yeah.
Susan.
It's another thing I love. Even when I love when he's telling her about, she's complaining to Chris about the kids and they're so silly. He doesn't play with them because they want to pretend they're animals. And that's such an adorable scene.
It is.
And he's like, well, why can't you pretend you're an animal also? And then he's telling her how to pretend she's a monkey.
Yes.
That was such a cute scene, and he's showing her how to be a monkey, and then she starts really getting into it, and then you can see her, like, whereas before that she was very mature, now you can see her as an adorable little kid.
She's trying to become a child again.
Which is what she should be, right?
But I think it's interesting too, like, one of the main things that comes up a couple of times is Chris asking people what they want. People, he genuinely wants to know what they want for Christmas. Yep. And a lot of the kids give answers like, I want a fire helmet, I want a fire truck football helmet, stuff like that. Yep. Susan wants a house and a family. Yeah. She wants a childhood. She wants a life.
And even that, because at first he sees this house that she took out of
a dollhouse.
A dollhouse. And she's like, no, a real house, yeah. And he hesitates, and then she's like, yeah, you're not real. Like, I knew it. And he's like, well, no, it's not
Let me find a way
that.
to do it.
Yeah, it's just like, this is a very big order,
Yes.
And
that's one thing I like, too. I like they demystify Santa. You never see the North Pole. You never see reindeer, elves, anything like that. Right. It's just, this is this guy who intentionally enters our world at our level to try to remind people of why this holiday should matter.
Right, yeah. The real meaning,
yeah. Yeah, and he flat out says, if I can't bring it to these people, like, he's like, Susan and Doris are the whole thing in miniature. If I can't prove it to them, I'm finished.
Right, true. Yep.
Which I think is a really, like, weirdly mature angle for this movie to take. How, like, there's no, like, Santa's workshop. You don't see any real
elves,
magic.
None of that.
Nope. It's just he just does it somehow.
Yeah.
And he works with department stores. It's such a weird premise. Santa mythos. Yeah. It's just strange.
It is. I know, but it's great.
But I love it.
I want to point out too. The script was written by a guy with the name Valentine Davies, which is funny.
Okay.
It's a guy, but his name is also includes another holiday, like St. Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day. But he got the idea while, just going through the struggles of trying to get Christmas presents, going through the crowds, and the commercialism that he saw while shopping made him think, what would the real Santa Claus think of all this? What would he make of it? And he wrote this, really great, intricate script. It's much more complicated than it seems on the surface. And he did win the Academy Award for that, too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The end of the film, because this is, spoilers for a movie that came out in the 40s.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Fred does prove that Chris is who he says he is via the U.S. mail.
The children, yeah.
All sending their mail to Santa and it getting redirected to the courthouse.
Yep.
But the end of the film, it's not some... Susie gets her house. She gets her family. And they leave it, so you assume, depending on how you look at it, it probably was Chris.
Well, because when they show the cane at the end, that's kind of interesting.
But there are some people who do say, like, that they don't ever come out and officially say it.
They don't really,
There is something like, it could just be...
It's also kind of left up to the viewer.
Yeah. Which we talk a lot in our films about how much we respect movies that let the audience figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. But what do you think? That's the funny thing. Is, like, when I see that, I always think, I'm so glad that it's
I think
him.
He got it for them.
Yeah, I think he did too, yeah.
And I think that really, because, and I mentioned too, Chris and Alfred are the only two people in this film who do things for totally unselfish reasons. There is no ulterior motive behind what they're doing. They're just trying to bring Christmas to people.
Right.
That's why, I honestly think that's why Alfred getting picked on raises Chris's hackles up so bad. Yeah. Here's a kid who's trying to live out the Christmas spirit.
Good kid. Yeah.
Really good kid. Because he plays Santa Claus for the kids too.
Right. And that's all he wants to do.
That's all. Yeah. And he's genuinely like a good person who's just trying.
Yep.
So Chris's response is like, how dare you basically mess with this kid?
Yeah. And that's why he's so fiery then.
Yes. Absolutely. Scene. Yeah. But even like the court scene, the judge has ulterior motives. Yeah. He wants to let Chris go.
Yep.
He wants to give them like the end.
And that's even funny. He and William Frawley, Fred from I Love Lucy. He keeps looking at him, nodding, shaking his head, no, whatever,
Everything's a political move.
Everything's a move
because he's coming up for re-election,
right?
And he's looking at this not as like, hey, just a court case, but like, hey, if I rule that there's no Santa Claus, what is that? What are the ramifications for that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, they put Mr. Macy on the stand.
Yep.
Do you believe that this man is Santa Claus? And he's like, well, do I admit that I hired a fraud?
He's
what
even
do I
seeing
do?
little vignettes in
Yes.
his head, you know, his imagination, like how bad that would be if he says there's no Santa.
It's amazing how every interlocking piece is somebody trying to serve their own motives, and it all ends up working out for the greater good. It is fascinating that this movie came out when it did and is pieced together like this. It's such a strange classic. You look at other films that star Santa Claus like as a primary, you know, character. If you want to go back to like The Year Without a Santa Claus, the claymation stuff, or even if you want to look at like the new stuff, like, you know, Tim Allen and Santa Claus, which I don't like, but that's beside the point.
Right.
There's so much variety in how he's portrayed. I think this is the most grounded, realistic, he's just a guy version.
Like I said, it's so much deeper than it seems, you know? Like if you just look at the premise, you know, if you just sum it up really quickly, it seems very cut and dried. But there's so much, like you said, so much behind the scenes. Yeah.
This is actually, I think, one of the hardest ones we had to summarize because there's so much weird. It's just
all these little plots, all these little things going on, you know, with Alfred. Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of different characters, and the way that everybody kind of interacts, you know, everybody gets some kind of an ending. The psychiatrist gets fired,
right?
Because he is a fraud and he is costing Macy's this whole lawsuit in the first place.
And he's such a horrible person.
He's just awful.
Yeah.
And
he lies even too. You know, he lies
he's
about
just nasty.
it.
Doris learning to not only believe in hope again, but learning to kind of believe, okay, Chris, I think you are telling us the truth.
Yeah.
Which for kids are one thing, an adult.
A cynical adult,
okay, you know, the magic's
Someone
real.
who's obviously been hurt, doesn't want to put herself out there again, be vulnerable, and she allows herself to be vulnerable.
I think too, it's important that Doris is never vilified.
No.
The story's on her side. It feels bad for her, as much as it does for Susan.
You can understand where you don't even know for sure. I mean, you're assuming it's the divorce,
sure,
but they don't ever highlight that at all. They never really discuss it. But you know she's hurt.
Yeah.
And she's really trying to protect her child, so you can't really fault her for anything.
I've heard that too. I've heard actual adults say, you know, I remember growing up with these expectations and life didn't meet them.
Right.
And so honestly, the results in real life of those adults are very cynical kids.
Yeah.
Because their parents tell them life isn't a fairy tale, this is what it's going to be.
Right.
It's going to suck, and it does. We're living an entire generation of kids now who know out the gate life sucks.
Yeah.
Which is in a way sad because they do lose the magic and that idealism of childhood that Fred has, that Alfred has, that Chris is trying to maintain.
Yep.
So
it really is less about Christmas and more about the
hope,
the spirit, and the hope.
Yeah. And it is it's a wonderful Christmas
and
film.
that manifests in Christmas or in that holiday, but it should be all year.
Yeah.
And John Payne, Fred, even says that, you know, when he says about, you know, that he wants to do this because it's better to believe, you know, it's better to have faith and to enjoy the little things. You know? He kind of says what I say all the time too.
Yeah.
Like, put yourself out there, take a chance, but it's better to believe in something, you know.
Than nothing, for sure.
Yep. And I don't know if you caught that, but it was really cute when Maureen O'Hara calls her daughter Susie, kind of near the end. She always called her Susan, which is very formal.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you didn't catch
That's
that?
cute.
Yeah, I did. I just noticed it today, in fact, and I said, that's funny. She starts calling her Susie, which is, again, like letting her be a child.
I also think it's really interesting, too, like at the end, and I caught this only the last time we watched it, Doris believes before Susan does.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's easily swapped in a lot of films.
Yeah.
But in this one, Doris takes Susan aside, and she's like, listen, it's important to believe this.
Yeah.
Susan's big thing is basically, I didn't get what I want, so therefore Santa's not real.
Right.
Which is a very little kiddish idea.
Yeah.
But I've seen adults do that with faith and a lot of different things.
Right.
And it's an interesting angle to take when she says, basically, you know, you do have to keep believing because for a moment, like, you don't know if Susan's going to get her house.
Right.
It's a big ask.
Yeah, it is a big ask, and you don't know really until the very final scenes. You're like, how's he gonna? And you're even thinking, how's he gonna do that? How's that gonna happen?
Yeah, even so, you don't know for sure that she's gonna get the house. They still have to buy it. It's not like he bought the house.
Right.
There is still a method. He just kind of like put in the steps so it's there for them.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just such a wonderful, like, good feeling of like doing the right thing for the right reason, for getting the Christmas spirit out there, and in honestly, like, letting the magic exist.
Yeah,
you know, for your kids, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I don't, like I said, my parents didn't do Santa with us. Right. So for us, like, you know, we never had like the disillusionment moments of there's no Santa Claus.
Right.
But even so, like as a family without it, we always enjoyed this film as a kind of like realistic look at commercialism, at Christmas, at the Santa Claus story in a way that didn't lose what was important about the season.
Yeah.
And really like that hope, that idealism that you have to hold on to your imagination, to some form of faith and hope as you get older, or the world will suck it out of you.
It will, yep. Yeah, and I don't know why anyone sees anything wrong with that. You know, why so many adults, seems like more now than ever, but obviously not, because that's what this film's about. Mm-hmm. But they want to sort of take that away.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, too, and this movie made me think of it, when I was a kid growing up, it seemed like Christmas really was a magical time of the year, but so many adults made it so. Like, we would go to these places, and there would be, like my father, there was a bar he hung out at, and we'd go there, and they'd have a big Christmas party, and they'd have Santa there. You never felt that it wasn't the real Santa. I mean, we were little kids. We were 4, 5, and 6 years old. But, you know, it seemed like all the adults were sort of in collusion to try to keep this alive for children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then over the years, everything got so cynical. It seems like everyone's in collusion to try to take away the innocence of children or childhood, you know? Mm-hmm. And I don't see why anyone would think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know if they're just disillusioned adults that want to sort of, like, what right, again, like, kind of like, what right do they have to be so happy?
I think that there's a strange sense, and we've seen this, like, as generations have passed, even in watching Christmas movies and generations that have passed. You know, you've got this era, It's a Wonderful Life, you know, White Christmas is coming in the next decade, and then you start looking at the shift that occurs later, and you start looking at, like, the Christmas stories, the Home Alone, things like that. Yeah. The world does things get more cynical as time goes on.
Yeah. And a little more mean-spirited.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen a Christmas film with this much, like, a genuine good, like, hey, good-heartedness, except for maybe Claus, which, if you haven't seen that, I recommend.
Who's in that?
It's an animated one from, I want to say, like, 2018. That's cute. I would actually recommend it a lot.
I'll check it out.
I don't remember the cast, which is unlike me. Yeah. But I apologize for falling down on the job, everybody.
But it's really, I think it's not just one of the best Christmas movies. It's really one of the best movies.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, because it's a kind of film you can see at any time of the year, and you just come away feeling good.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is a good movie.
It is a unique specimen, too. I also think this is interesting. I don't know if you knew this. This movie was released in May.
Oh, I did. You know, it's funny. The original title was A Christmas Miracle on 34th Street. Did you know that?
I did not.
And they took it out because they didn't want people to think it was a Christmas movie being released in the warmer months.
Even though that's what it was.
Even though it was. They wanted them to go to the theater to see it and then realize, oh, this is about Christmas.
This was in for a very long time, though. I remember reading that, or I think seeing that when we watched some special features, because we have it on DVD, that it was in theaters for quite a long time.
You know, it's funny, too, because older movies, they didn't rush them in and out.
No,
you know?
They didn't.
Yeah, I mean, today, if you don't see the movie the opening weekend or the next weekend, chances are,
miss it.
Yeah, you're going to miss it. And you get it on streaming pretty soon.
My sisters and I missed out on Caught Stealing because we couldn't find a day that worked for us, and then the next thing we knew, we're like, oh, shoot, it's out already.
Yeah, yep, I know. Back then, they would stay over. If people were going to see it, they'd keep it in there for a while.
Yeah. I do think that's something we've missed out on. I do enjoy, like, the longer time spans, and this movie was in long enough, I think, to make it to Christmas.
Wow.
So from May to Christmas, that's a long
pretty
time.
Crazy, yeah. Which makes sense, though, right? I mean, cause if it wasn't going to be released at Christmas, let it at least play until Christmas.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, because people are going to want to show up for that. Like I said, just a great film. Just I felt more moved by it today.
Really?
Yeah, than I have, in the past. And I don't know why. Maybe because I'm older. Maybe because the world has kind of beaten us down a little bit.
You're a parent, too.
Yeah, and being a parent, I've been relating all of that. And just, feeling good about something,
Mm-hmm.
Not that the movies we've been reviewing are all necessarily...
Not all bummers.
Not all bummers, no. But this movie just, there was, to me, not a bad note in it.
Honestly, a lot of ours have been kind of downers, though.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, they were like, they die at the end.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm drawn to those kinds of films, too. So these are nice little refreshing moments, a little respite.
It's not my favorite Christmas film by any stretch.
Really?
It's in my top, it's in my top 10, I'd say, but it's definitely not. My number one is It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I was talking about that this morning. I think that probably would still be my number one. Mm-hmm. That seems a little long though when I watch it. Like if you've seen it enough times, it drags a little bit in certain parts. This one's very brisk. It's an hour and a half, and it moves quickly.
This one I think too, like I can end it and I can walk away feeling lighter. It's a Wonderful Life. I bawl through the last 20 minutes of that movie every time I watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it. I heard like a sound clip of the end of it on the radio one time, and I teared up, and I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
But this movie, I think, does have that good combination of like letting you enjoy the Christmas magic, letting you be a child, and letting you be an adult at the same time. That doesn't talk down to you. The movie's never makes it out like you're, if anyone is in the movies stupid for not believing in Santa. They act like they're all reasonable.
It's very, it's a smart film. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on.
I can't believe how well written this is. And I honestly, it does make me sad. I mean, I think, I don't want to vilify remakes in general. Yeah. I think the remake serves best as a mode to be able to go back and find this one.
Yeah. Right. True. Right.
Because I will say, I don't think many little kids, especially now,
would watch this.
Are going to be like, yeah.
I wonder how they feel. I'm curious because I don't know anyone who has done that, but I wonder if they saw the new one or the newer one from whatever, 97.
A lot of people have, actually.
Yeah, if they've seen that and then saw this one, would they think this one's not as good or better? Like, I'm curious.
I actually saw a review for this the other day, for the remake, actually. And then I went, and the guy said, he's like, actually, the remake has gotten better as he's gotten older because he appreciates the differences, the things that they changed, the things that they, but he did say the original is still better from a perspective of, like, just movie making.
Right.
But the remake is also geared more for little kids. Right. It was like that stretch in the 90s where they were aiming for like the little ones with those Christmas films.
Right.
And I do think that this film, it benefits from being adult and from talking to its audience like grown-ups, including Susan, like the little girl who is meant to be
she'd
too
obviously
old for
have
her
it no
age.
other way.
Mm-hmm.
The character anyway.
Yeah, and she's like, I mean, we didn't talk much about, we mentioned it, Natalie Wood is really good for being so young in this. It's a fantastic performance. I think it's one of the great like little kid performances.
Yeah. I was watching it very closely today too because I was trying to see if there's any like kind of hammy scenes, and she has scenes that are potentially hammy.
She's good though,
but she's really good. Yeah, she pulls it off. She pulls it off like a little kid would.
And she does pull off too, which I think is interesting because Chris has to teach her how to use her imagination. We talked about that scene.
Right.
She doesn't play it like a kid who already, like, she does play it like she's figuring it out for the first time, and it's confusing to her.
Yeah, even especially like I said, the scene where she's doing a monkey. That was very cute. Yeah,
I always like the scene where he's talking to her about the imagination, like to begin with, where it's like she's never even heard the word, which is so weird.
Yeah, she knows it only from the dictionary. She doesn't know it
how to
practical
actually use
it. Yeah,
which I was an imaginative kid.
Yeah.
So for me, I remember like watching that when I was younger and being like, this kid is,
it's so foreign.
Yeah, this kid needs help.
Yeah,
But Chris and Fred.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. This kid needs help, and yet the only one they want to help is the one who wants to do good.
Yeah.
And play Santa for the kids. Yeah.
Chris and Fred, too, like, they work really well. They end up, like, this pretty good duo where they have these talks about Susan and Doris and how much they want to help them.
Yeah.
Again, it's not, like, a matter of, like, hey, these two people, like, are, sad and pathetic and need help. It's more a matter of, like, hey, these people have lived a really long time without really any breakthrough of joy.
Yeah.
Let's try to bring them out. Let's try to bring them out of this.
Yeah.
So I do really respect. I respect what the movie's trying to do. I think it succeeds.
I do
on
too.
Pretty much every.
Yeah, I definitely think
it's weird. This director, the only thing that I can see that he's done aside from this is Airport.
Wow.
From the 70s.
Wow.
I looked up his filmography. I don't recognize a single thing this guy did.
Wow.
Just this.
I didn't even check it because the name was not familiar to me at all. Yeah.
It's Let me see.
That's surprising.
Yeah, because it wasn't a name that I.
And it is. There's a lot of balls he's juggling in this film. Like I said, a lot of little stories going on. Yeah.
George Seaton, and
Seaton, right,
it's really easy to let this slip.
Yeah.
I can see how it'd be easy to like let one of the threads drop or to let one of the plates fall off. And
they didn't. Really.
They don't.
Yeah,
they
leave something like where you're like, hey, whatever happened to that one guy?
They tied it super nicely. That doctor even gets his X-ray machine.
Right.
It's just like the little stuff. You don't have to add that in.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting too. The other psychiatrist who knows Chris, the other doctor who knows Chris from previously.
Right.
He doesn't believe him, but he doesn't see any harm in letting him believe he is who he says.
And he's also a really good character.
Yeah,
very nice guy.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's super believable.
They really are.
And that's, I think, the thing that holds it the strongest. Every performance reads like totally earnest, believable.
Yes.
These people are people. They're not caricatures. They're not here to say lines. There's no Tiny Tim who's just there to kind of say the things. They mean it.
And you kind of feel them changing, like the audience should be. Where at first they're skeptical and they're doubtful, and then slowly you start to think, is it possible? Like, maybe
is this guy actually Santa?
Yeah, can he really be? Can there be? And that's what hope is.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
It's just that transformation from there is none to can there be one?
Yeah, I really do.
And that feels good. It just feels good, especially this time of year.
I recommend the trailer if you haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah.
because the way that they try to build this is really interesting.
I haven't seen the trailer.
I'd look it up. It's fun.
Okay,
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I thought it was funny that you mentioned it though. That it was originally called The Christmas Miracle on 34th Street, and then they thought, well, we're going to release it in May. We'll take the word Christmas out of there. People will figure it out later on.
I think
interesting.
It's so strange too, because so many of our holiday movies have come from this decade, like the 40s and the 50s.
I know. Three right in a row. The only three, in fact, that were ever nominated for Best Picture.
Really?
It's this, It's a Wonderful Life, and The Bishop's Wife.
Oh,
all from 46 and 47. Yeah. What happened after that?
I don't know.
It's a lot of years between.
Because White Christmas is not Oscar material. It's really good.
It's a great film,
fun,
right.
But it's not Oscar material.
Right.
Although,
I don't know who was the head of the Academy back then, but they obviously had a thing for these sort of maybe for these hopeful Christmas films.
Maybe I think too, and post World War II, because the reason It's a Wonderful Life didn't do so hot was honestly because people were like, okay, life was depressing enough for a couple of years. Yeah. Why are you doing?
Yeah.
This is not.
They didn't want to get through all that sadness to get to the happy ending.
This movie is like kind of like rides a really gentle, like floating, like hey, it's a hopeful tide the whole way through. Even through all the people who are just looking for means to an end, it's still a hopeful, strong through line that's brought by Edmund Gwynn's performance, honestly. Yeah. But we haven't talked about much. But I love him in this. He's great in this.
Yeah. And did we mention he also did win the best supporting
actor for this
Academy Award? Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple other things and didn't recognize him because he doesn't always have the beard.
No, yeah, that'd probably be it. If I saw him with the beard, I'd probably know who he was.
So those in the credits, I'm like, oh, that was Edmund Gwynn.
He also
he's perfect for this role.
He's so good. Yeah. We've talked a little bit about like realistic performances, things like that. The way that he plays Santa really is heartwarming to me.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's not overly jolly. It's not overly.
No, because he's very human. Yeah, he's even mad in a couple scenes.
Yeah, I've never seen Santa whack somebody over the head.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Good for him.
Yeah.
And there, like I've mentioned before, there's no magic. Like, he mentions the reindeer, but you don't see him.
Right.
You know, I think it's so easy.
Yeah, he points out to the guy setting up the
You're
display.
Messing with the reindeer.
You got him in the wrong order. That's cute too.
Yeah, it is really cute. And but he views, especially the way that he works with the kids. There's such a clear heart for these kids. And making sure they get what they want, and it's a personal interaction every time. It's a personal interaction. Yep. We're gonna talk later about favorite scenes. My favorite scene in the movie is one with one of the kids, and it's not Susie.
Okay. Do you want me to guess? Is it the Dutch girl?
It is the Dutch girl.
It is. That's a great scene.
If there's one scene that almost brings me to tears, it's that one.
Me too. It's so funny
because so
I don't. There's nothing. I kind of almost wanted something to make me sort of feel that way, and nothing really did except that scene. The way her face lights up when he starts to speak in Dutch,
it breaks my heart.
It's great.
It's
a great scene, and she's so happy, because she had just been adopted. And you're assuming maybe from World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's probably a child from that.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, which I highly recommend you check this movie out.
Yeah.
Especially before the end of the month.
Yeah.
When they're in the lineup for like the kids coming to see Santa at the mall, at Macy's, this mom brings her daughter up and says, "Hey, she's adopted. She only speaks Dutch, doesn't really speak English, but she said she knew that you were Santa and you knew that you'd be able to understand her, and he does. He responds to her in her own language." The way that her face lights up and the way that the mom's heart is breaking for like how happy this is making her kid. Yeah. I'm getting teared up now.
Yeah, it's a great little scene.
It's so good.
And the film's filled with that.
That's
a lot of little great scenes.
That's what pushes Susie over the edge too.
Yeah.
When she watches that
she's watching that, right. Exactly.
And that's kind of what makes her start thinking, maybe this guy is legit.
Yep. Yeah. Because he's going out there sort of to try to like burst the bubble.
Because she's in the lineup and she's like, "You're not Santa. I know you're not."
Yeah, exactly. You're just an old man with a beard. A nice old man with a beard.
Yeah.
And then she sees that, and you can see right then she's like,
thinking,
"Wait a second, what?"
That's one thing I mentioned this to you. One of the things I actually do like in the remake from the '90s is that they readapt that sequence, but it's with a deaf child, and he speaks ASL to her, and it's still super cute. Like,
I'm sure that would be nice to see.
That connection, that moment is what solidifies this Santa as, for me, the best cinematic Santa Claus. Yeah, he has such a heart for the people.
And again,
he's working
who
for.
thought to put that in? Like, what a great idea! Again, I'm going to credit that guy, Valentine Davies or whatever his name was.
What a great
little scene to throw in there.
Series of choices.
Yeah. Very touching.
Did you have a favorite? Was that your favorite scene?
Boy,
because that's mine, rock solid.
Yeah, that is a great scene. You know what else I liked? I liked Tommy's testimony. Remember?
Yes, the little kid.
The judge's.
The prosecutor's
son. Yeah, and then the mom's there also.
Like, I can't. He has. It was a
yeah. He's like, well, I know because my dad told me that there's a Santa, and you would never lie to me, right, Dad? And this is the prosecutor, and he's looking at him. He's like so smitten with his son. You can see he loves his son.
You can see he loves his kid.
Yeah, you can.
You can also see that he knows
smiling.
He's bad.
Yes, yeah. And the little kid was really cute, right?
He was a cute kid, and then I love when Fred has him on the stand. He's questioning him, and he's like, who told you there was a Santa Claus? And he's like, my dad did.
Yeah,
his
exactly.
Dad's literally on. Like,
and your dad wouldn't lie to you,
Claus.
right? Because your dad's a.
Your dad's a good guy, right?
Yeah, your dad's a good guy. He wouldn't lie to you. My dad would never lie to me.
That courthouse scene, that whole sequence is so funny because it's so many people trying to save face.
Yeah.
All at the same time in front of their families.
And again,
in front of their
it's so well written.
Yes.
Because who would think to put that in there?
Yeah.
Like, you have the kids, the son testify, and then he says, my daddy wouldn't lie to me. And now what's the prosecutor going to say?
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah, well, I did, son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
it is
he says, all right, we'll concede that there's a Santa.
Yes.
Yeah. But how do you prove it? Like, how do you prove it now?
Exactly.
And that's when the letters come in.
It's such a...
And did you know, I didn't even realize that until today. That's Jack Albertson.
Oh.
From Willy Wonka.
Are you serious?
You hear his voice, but you don't recognize it because he's so young. He's the guy in the mailroom who says...
Oh.
And you can tell his voice. If you can't tell it's his face because he's really young looking.
Yeah.
The grandpa from Willy Wonka.
I haven't seen Willy Wonka in a long time because that movie gave me nightmares.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's a trauma movie.
Oh, we should
sure.
do that sometime. That'll be interesting.
Oh, good. We'll just draw that back up into my brain. Thanks so much.
Yeah. We'll have you carted away at the end.
But it's a rough movie.
Yeah, I recognized his voice today, and I thought that doesn't look like him, but it sounds like him. And then I looked it up, and I said, "Wow, it is Jack Albertson, really young." Well, I mean, he just looks so much younger.
Yes.
And he's the one who gets the idea. Hey, you know what? We got all those dead letters back there. You know what? Why don't we bring them down to the courthouse? So he really is kind of the hero of the film.
But
at the
again,
end.
also, it's a cynical decision. It's let's get him out because they're taking up space.
They're taking up space, right? Let's just get rid of him. Yeah, he's not doing it to save Santa.
I'm obsessed with every decision in this movie and how everything is just.
How
I've said
it
before.
again,
it's just so good.
Yeah,
so
I didn't
tight.
look up Valentine Davies, whatever his name was. I'm curious what else he wrote. If he wrote anything else, because this is a really smart script. It really is.
Sharp, super sharp.
Yeah, Valentine Davies.
One of the other things I read, Maureen O'Hara, who I know from this obviously, but I mostly know her from like the John Wayne stuff
films,
that she did.
Right.
I know her as like the Pirate Queen or like this really feisty like,
Mrs. McClintock.
Yes. Honestly,
it's a very soft performance.
Quiet Man. It is
very good. Yeah.
And she would say she said for decades kids came up to her and asked, "Are you the lady who knows Santa Claus?"
Yeah, and she would always affirm their beliefs.
What do you want me to tell them?
Yes,
which I think is
so sweet.
It is.
Yeah.
It
and
really
did you notice? I noticed it more than ever today. How her Irish accent comes out. Certain words.
Some of the words.
Like she doesn't say th. It's a t. Like she'll say thank you. Stuff like that.
My mom points that out every time I watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
She makes a comment. But my mom also makes fun of people who from Scranton the way that they talk to.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a sound.
A regional accent.
Yeah.
For sure.
But by the same token, I mean we've all got it. There's some words.
We do right.
There's. Is it a woodchuck or groundhog? That type of thing.
I know. Yep. I've been down in Georgia, and people were like, "Are you from New Jersey?" I'm like, how can you tell? And they're like, "You got an accent."
Oh, you can tell.
I don't have an accent. You guys have the accent.
You can tell.
Yeah, they can definitely tell. But we don't talk like Joyzy. I don't know where that came from. People are always like, "Oh, you're from Joyzy?"
I don't. Yeah.
I don't know anyone from New Jersey who says Joyzy.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a Bugs Bunny thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it is.
Do you have a favorite character?
Well, I gotta go with John Payne.
Okay.
I think he's kind of the heart of the story.
Okay.
Initially, anyway. And imagine, and I also feel sorry for him. Imagine going through life one letter away from John Wayne. That had to be tough. John Payne, John Wayne, completely different, actors, different men. But I thought he was really good in this. And he also said this was his favorite film.
Nice.
And he actually tried for years and years to do a
sequel. I read that.
Which would have been. I'm curious how it would have been.
I'm kind of glad they didn't. I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it was really good, I might have liked it. But I don't know. Maybe it's better that
it might be one of those like Top Gun Maverick things where like if it's brilliant, like years later, I can forgive it, but it doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I liked his character because he was very steady throughout. There was no transformation with him. He was a believer in the beginning, and a believer at the end. And he got people on board, which was it was a good job that he did.
I like Chris.
Of course, well, yeah,
but
true.
I also really like Alfred, just because
I do too.
It's a good performance.
He almost seems like he could have been one of the Bowery Boys or the East End Kids or the Dead End Kids, doesn't he?
He's a little too nice for that.
Yeah, but he looks like he could have been.
He looks like
maybe the nice guy in the gang.
Maybe.
Like he's got that look about him.
I think he's got such a because he never questions Chris at all.
No.
There's a scene early on which I forgot to mention this, which is another like cute moment where to do the Macy's Santa thing, Chris wears his own suit.
Right.
And he says, when Alfred says, that he likes to dress up as Santa for the kids too, Chris says, so you also impersonate me. Alfred doesn't blink. He just takes that one and just is all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He also seems very innocent. He really does.
Yeah.
He seems like a very pure soul.
Yes, and he's on trial. He comes to the trial for Chris too. He clearly cares about Chris as a person.
Yeah.
Instead of just.
I was glad he showed up there too, because again, like you said, nothing's just left undone.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could have, he served his purpose.
Yeah.
But they do show him at the court, which is true to the character.
And he's at the Christmas party at the end, dressed up as Santa.
Right.
He shakes Mr. Macy's hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What a great.
Really, everything was followed
Fantastic.
through on. They didn't let anything drop. They didn't say like, "Oh, darn, we never
came back to this,"
or mention what happened to this guy. It was really a brilliant
really,
script.
really good. For those of you out there who haven't seen it or who have only seen the remake, I know I've already said it, but
it's okay.
Please go check out the original. Please go check out the original. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
You'll leave with a good feeling.
You will, especially this time of year. Definitely recommend it.
Yes.
Watch it with your family, with your kids, with friends, whoever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You won't regret it.
With that said, thanks for checking in, everybody, and for listening to one of our first Christmas special, actually.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it, same as always, drop a like, hit subscribe. We got plenty more to talk about.
Yeah.
And if you have any recommendations, make sure you drop those too. We're always looking for new movies to check out, and I'm sure there's something that neither of us have thought of.
Right.
With that said, you guys have a super Merry Christmas.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next time.